while you guys are talking about this with labor shortage, there's two stories I'm going to read to you, and you tell me what direction we should go with this. So one story, Ford comes out, CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, says he can't fill 5,000 mechanic jobs at $125,000 a year salary, $120,000 a year salary. We're in trouble in our country. Rob, if you want to play this clip, go for it.
As of this morning, we had 5,000 openings, a bay with a lift and tools and no one to work in it.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. $120,000 a job a year, but it takes you 5 years to learn it. Take a diesel out of a Super Duty, it takes a lot of skill. You need to know what you're doing. And God forbid we ever get in a war, Google's not going to be able to make, the tanks and the planes. So this is a self-defense for our country issue. But how I think about it is, if we work together,
just pause it right there, by the way. Did you just hear what he just said?
Yep.
He said, if we go to war, who are they going to go to say, can you build this XYZ for me? They're not going to go to Google. They're not going to go to Apple. They're going to go to these guys. And it takes how many years, he said, to train to take a diesel?
5.
That's it right
Master,
there.
5 years training?
Master mechanic.
And by the way, he said it earlier when you said about education early on in the first 3 minutes. But go ahead. You were going to say something about
That
this.
is the whole problem right there. What he's saying is that if somebody has to invest 5 years of their time and likely huge expense to become a master mechanic. So yes, they're promising a $120,000 a year job, but somebody has to invest their time, effort, and money to become qualified. And people do not want to take that risk.
Okay, so this is coming to my next question, okay? And I want to know what the solution is. So if we have a labor shortage, if we have companies like Ford that are sitting there saying, hey, man, I need 5,000 people at 120, I'm having a hard time. If we go to war, how the hell am I going to build this stuff for you when the U.S. government comes knocking on the door saying, hey, guys, we need it right now. We need you to build this for us right now. Then a story comes out of Financial Times. Number of new foreign students in U.S. falls 17% over visa worries. And Jeff, I want to know what you're going to say about this. You sound like a pretty reasonable guy. So American universities, Rob, I think got a clip on this one here. Is this she's just giving the report on it?
Yeah, she's just giving the news.
I'm just going to read this here. It's fine. American universities have suffered one of the sharpest ever declines in foreign enrollments in the face of tough policies from President Trump, with the number of new international students falling 17% this year. A survey of 825 U.S. higher education institutions showed 57% report falling new enrollments by students, while only 29% recorded any increase. The result raised concerns over the impact on universities of declining tuition revenue, along with the less tangible effect that having fewer foreign students will have an economic growth. The data provided by the International Institute of Education and sponsored by the State Department compounds a drop of 7% in new international enrollments in 24-25, including a fall of 15% among graduates who make up the largest short. This is a significant decline, which shows that government policies have implications, particularly at the graduate level, where the U.S. benefits the most, says Fanta, the chief executive of NAFSA, the Association of International Educators. So when we're looking at this here, okay, and we're looking at labor shortage, Ford's having a hard time placing, companies are laying off, the debate about allowing others to come from other countries, then President Trump says, we're going to have 600,000 Chinese students coming here to become students. He gets pushed back by Laura Ingraham, says, why not 300,000? Well, we want 300,000 more. It's better to get the brains here. The colleges need students. The colleges need money. So, labor shortage. Jeff, how do you solve it?
There is no such thing as a labor shortage.
Okay.
The problem with Ford is $120,000 salary is not high enough. You want to fill those bays? Pay the market rate, the rate that will get people off of the couch to invest in their time and effort and become those mechanics.
You think that would be the change?
Yes. There's no such thing as a labor shortage.
So
the only labor shortage comes about when companies are refusing to pay the market clearing
Okay,
rate.
so then who, if he's choosing those numbers, if you go to salary.com,
His
if
data
you go
tells
to
him it's not working. I don't have the mechanics at $120,000. Then you need to pay $250,000. It's that simple.
You think at 250 he gets at 5,000?
I don't know what the number is, but I know it's higher.
So you think that's it? You think that's the solution?
This is the solution for any time.
So that's
and then the
Ford.
other thing.
Then go on the other
with
one.
Visas,
Yes.
Does anybody here really think the number of students in college correlates with anything that has to do with economic advance? We've had more people in college over the last 40 years, and it hasn't contributed much to the what's supposed to the advancement and the working stock of the United States. You put more people in college, all it does is make money for the colleges. And you said that to yourself when you read the article. You said that's more money with the Chinese students coming in. Does that actually advance American interests, whether it be economic or national interests, or is it just more money for the colleges to expand whatever it is colleges do these days?
Does it change if they're studying productive things, though, versus things that are not productive?
But how do we know? I mean, how do we know?
I guess what the economy needs, like if there's like people who are unqualified for needed jobs, and then people start going to school for those jobs, is that more productive than people going to school for like gender studies?
But that's the thing. Do the Chinese students come in and what are they actually studying?
They're not studying gender studies. That's
No,
not
they're
what
not.
they're
Are we
doing.
sure?
Americans take
A lot of
gender
Americans
studies.
are, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so-
that's what I'm saying. More people in college doesn't necessarily solve the problem here.
Yeah, Rob, can you do me a favor? I don't know about that. Can we debate that? Can we debate that argument? Take the opposing position. Are you comfortable taking take the opposing position? Go with that.
The colleges do make the country more productive.
Yeah, no,
so,
no. Two things, not just colleges. It's okay. So if we are not willing to bring the best and the brightest in here, the other day I'm in Goldman Sachs. Okay, they had their orientation class. I don't know if you caught what happened, Tom. They had their orientation class. I walked up to see who's at the orientation class. Obviously, I'm not supposed to go there. I walk up and I'm just sizing everybody up. You know what I'm sizing up? What do you think I'm looking at? What do you think I'm looking at? That's the no orient. I can't. It's a no orientation hire. But what do you think I'm looking for?
their eyes, like what their eyes look like?
I want to know ethnicity. I want to know age. Okay, and then I want to know attire because I want to know what's the dress code expected when you're going through orientation. I want to know ethnicity. I want to see patterns. I walk
For
up.
something like that, it's young male Asians.
Well, it's interesting. Then I walk with. Then they put a security right in front of the door immediately when we came back out. Tom, I don't know if you noticed that part or not. So, you know what you notice? You go on a floor, one of the biggest insurance companies in America, 300 engineers, 80% all Indians, okay, who are there. Of the 80% that are Indians, some of them came to us from IIT Institute, which in many cases, IIT Institute crushes MIT when they put them against each other on education. It's very hard. 1 out of every 40,000 applicant gets accepted to IIT Institute. Some weird number like that, Rob, if you can verify. So I'm pretty accurate on what percentage of folks make it to IIT Institute, not MIT, IIT Institute. So should we not entertain taking the smartest, the brightest of other countries to come here and help us out? Or should we do it the other way around and make the investment here? That's also the debate. And I know we've had this debate, and it's something most people are not comfortable with. But what would you say about that?
I think we could do both. I think that we could be very selective of who we take here. And yeah, of course, we want phenoms and people who are like excellent. But no, we don't want to get into a situation where we're deciding to choose somebody from overseas because it's cheaper and because the employer here
Not cheaper. I'm not worried about cheap. I'm willing to pay market, whatever the market price is, and even a little bit more. I'm not saying 25 percentile. I'm saying 50, 75 percentile. Like you actually are willing to pay the money to get the best of the best.
Yeah. And if it's the best of the best, that's fine. Then like that's a net positive. If it's a small number of people you're very selective with it, then that's one thing. But I think it kind of bleeds into the wage thing where their companies feel like they could pay less for people who come from overseas.
No, that's not what I'm thinking.
No?
I'm just thinking the competition of if we have certain jobs that maybe we're not doing a good job training in, should we not put some competition for others to come in and, compete for those jobs? Or should we wait? Now, his solution is there was 5,000 jobs at 120. If he offered at 250, he's just making up a number. Like you're just spitballing here. If it's 250, he's going to get those jobs placed, okay? Maybe there's a point to it where you can. But is that the solution? Is that do I pay 80% above what the market is paying for me to hire whatever the person is? Do I compete and bring some other people that want those jobs? I don't know.
Well,
I'm asking. I'm debating to see.
Think about this: like 93% of all student loans come from the government. So why are we giving loans to people who are majoring in unproductive things? Like if we need certain jobs,
I love that idea.
Yeah, if we need certain jobs, why not just give loans for the majors that we need? Then we'd have a bunch of engineers and AI people or whatever the thing and mechanics, whatever we need are. We could flood the market with that if we only give loans for that for a couple of years for college students. But we still have a whole mix of some useless jobs, some useless degrees, some important degrees. So I think we could steer the future education in whichever direction we want to if we use the power of the student loans.
What do you think?
One of the problems with that is that like you said, the government gets involved in the business, and then it becomes a price thing because the price of education goes way up, which means that people are spending inordinate amount of money on degrees that don't ever pay back.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying when they're unproductive. Unproductive is you're not really creating value there, and the value proposition is all screwed up by the government's interference. So you don't have a labor market that's actually elastic enough to meet the match needs. People are confused about, which direction we go. And then this, again, gets back to the Ford thing. With Ford not paying the market rate for mechanics, that skews where people go. We want more people in trade schools to be able to do that, but yet they see the wage rate is $120,000. That's not really enough because I'm going to have to make major expense to educate myself. But if they were paying $250,000, that would draw more people into trade schools. So there is screwed up market signals all throughout the educational system because of the government's interference. And it's not really about deciding which jobs are going to be productive. It's the fact that we flooded these colleges with just students. I mean, we tell kids from the very beginning, you need to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. And half the people should never go to college. But because they go to college, the price of college goes way up, and it screws up the market signal for the entire labor market.
I agree with Brandon.
So, the point I'm making is that maybe we don't need to keep pushing people to college, whether they be U.S. or foreign born.
But check this out. Here's a question. So what if we go his route? You're at the meeting yesterday, and all these guys are talking about, I'm a G5, I'm a G3, I'm a G2, I'm a G4, fifth generation wealth, first generation wealth, second generation wealth. And then one of the families, they did a family reunion annually, 90 people show up, and it's getting more and more complicated. The family had the biggest cheese company in Wisconsin, Sargento, am I saying correctly?
Sargento, yes.
Sargento, yes, $1.8 billion in revenue. And one of the kids was talking about, where it's at. And a lot of people, oh my God, it's on 1.7 billion. Every kid must be a billionaire in that family. That's not the case, because you have to share that with 200-300 people eventually. 100 people eventually got grandkids, all this stuff. But if you don't hit certain numbers, the family doesn't fund your education. If you don't go through certain criteria, I actually love the most basic concept of, if you're not getting a degree in XYZ, why are taxpayers funding it? No. Well, by the way, you're a taxpayer watching this. I'm talking to you. You're watching this podcast. Just a very honest, can you guys just flood the comment section? And if you do a super chat on this topic, I will read it. I don't care what the dollar amount is. What would you say are jobs that, if the government is funding to get a degree, let's just say some of these folks that we're paying for, what positions would you be okay with? What type of degrees? What would you say? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. What would you for sure be against you funding? You're the taxpayer. What would you be against you funding? What would you say? There's no way in the world I want to pay for that. What would it be? Think like a parent. Your kids, if they say, Daddy, you have money, I want you to pay for my college tuition. What wouldn't you pay for? You'd be like, you're out of your flipping mind. I'm not paying for that, right? What would it be? Can you guys comment below? Rob, can you read off some of the stuff that people are saying? Okay, so engineering they pay for. Trade schools. I'm seeing multiple trade schools. Trade. By the way, Amir, trade school. Timbo, trade. Abraham Peters, he just gave a super chat, but not an answer. So trade school. Social studies, not paying for that. Trade school, engineering. By the way, 30% of the answers here are trade. Engineering, okay? Fashion design, not paying for it. Plumbers, against all of it, against paying anybody.
Can we
Business or
remove
STEM.
political science from the list too?
Of course, political science. I mean, why would you get that, right? Well, Tom, what do you think about what Brandon is saying? Because I kind of agree with him. As a parent, I'm willing, you told your daughters, right? You had certain things that you're not paying for college degrees. How come we're not doing that? That's a very easy, common sense decision to make.
Well, I'm going to add a word to the debate here. Underwriting. We were talking about insurance. I basically taught my daughters what the word underwriting meant. Underwriting is the process by which a life insurance or an insurance will put a price on your policy based on risk. How old are you? Do you smoke? Have you had cancer? What kind of a car do you have? Is it in a garage? Underwriting is all around us, and I expose to them underwriting. I will cover your education and do things based on the usability and the value of the major. You don't have to go into venture capital or that line like I did or something like that. You don't. But find something that matches your heart. But let's go find something that's applicable. And they completely understood it. I gave them facts and data. So I think we cause student loans. If they're going to be independent student loans, co-sign for your kid. Let your kid get whatever you want, but you co-sign for that loan the same way that you co-signed for their first checking account when they were 16 years old. I had to do that for Bailey to get her the checking account, Pat. I had to stand good for a $500 Visa that's attached to her checking account. You know where I'm going?
Yeah,
the government didn't help me.
Yeah.
But if the government would say, well, look, if you want to co-sign for your kid to have gender studies at Brown and you want to co-sign on that, go to your bank and get whatever student loan for your kid and co-sign for it. But if you want the federal effing government to stand behind that and then to put one of their, horrifying loan processors, these predatory loan processors on student loans, then wait a minute. The underwriting standard for the United States will be this. Now, the second, I'm going to give you another fact. $44 billion comes into the economy because foreign students, by and large, don't get loans. They come with money from those countries. $44 billion comes in because they pay the tuition, they pay for books, they pay for room and board, they pay for food, and once they pay for food, they pay for toilet paper. So they're here out in the United States spending $44 billion on that, and so they come back. Now, here's the next part I go to. You force the universities to use their endowments to subsidize everything from, professor salaries to the tuition. The purpose of the endowment used to be that, hey, I want to give Pat a scholarship. Hey, Pat, you're trying to, and by the way, I talked to friends that did this. They're holding a letter from Stanford and a letter from USC. This is a real case study. And they're looking at who's going to give you the best financial aid because you're an exemplary student from Glendale. And they're looking at it and says, you know what, I'm going to USC because I can get an engineering degree both places. I can get a business degree both places. But guess what? I get a little bit better deal from USC. I'm going. Guess where that came from? Their interest in their profits and their endowments.
How much did you say, Tom? 44 billion?
44 billion comes into the U.S. economy in tuition and other spending from foreign students.
So what do you do with that? Well, you're the president. You're an advisor. Do you say no?
If you say no, that means that money doesn't come in. And so the schools are going to scream
Which
that
would
they
you
need
rather
it.
have, the money coming in or the government financing a fine arts degree? Taxpayers paying for it.
I step on the air hose at the federal
Which
government
one of
level.
the two are you against more? Because there's an audience that's going to say, I don't want neither.
I would turn down the foreign student visas, not to zero. Some comes in, and then I would adjust what the U.S. taxpayer is going to underwrite on those student loans, and I think you're going to get there.
Okay, let me read some of these super chats because I rarely ask for this. So, limit federal student loans to those technical skills and jobs that this nation needs to grow. No student loans for gender studies. This is OFD 56. Okay, next one. Trade skills and STEM careers. This is Blake Castillo. Okay, next one. Elevate to the unknown. Management information systems. Okay, next one. From Razor 3 Inite. Fund technical engineer STEM with a contingency of commitment, aka they work for the government for 2 to 4 years. This also provides a return on investment and gives experience for private sector. Interesting. Next one. Abraham. The answer to Ford is hiring from high school shop class as interns and train them up to master mechanics. Now, I don't know if that's, but I like the fact that you're seeing what everybody else is saying. Common sense. Why are we paying for this stuff? Doesn't make any sense to me that we're funding this stuff. I think you've got a very good point there you're making, Brandon.
Thanks.
Jeff, I think you want to say something.
No, I was going to say that's not what government does. Government doesn't do common sense.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. If you got big plans for 2026, I am telling you right now, I can't tell you how many conversations we're having about business planning. There's a reason why we went less than 22 hours to Dallas and come back because we want to see exactly what's happening with 2026. We're planning for our family, for our businesses, ourselves. And if 2026 is a big year for you as well, I want you to watch this clip. Rob, can you go to the clip with the Jenga to show them what happens when it comes onto business plan and how all of these things are necessary? Go ahead, Rob.
Business is a lot like Jenga. Every piece matters. You need a vision. Do this carefully. Ooh. You need capital. You definitely need capital. Let's put this here. Ooh, listen, hanging on one piece here, by the way. You need the right team. For sure.
This almost fell off, by the way.
You need sales. As good as this looks, if your foundation isn't built on a good business plan, you know what happens? The whole thing crumbles. If you have big plans for 2026, on December 12th, I'm hosting an event called the Business Planning Workshop, where all day we go through the 12 building blocks of writing an effective business plan. So this doesn't happen to you. If you haven't get registered, click on the link below. Let's spend an entire day together on December 12th. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Folks, click on the link below, get registered. You can watch it with your friends, family, and this is going to be people watching this from 100 plus countries, and you can find a way to just get registered at the lowest level, or you can find a way to be on the screen so everybody can see each other, and at the end we'll do a Q&A for 90 minutes. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here, and if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.